The bell had just rung for lunch, and the bustling school hallways were alive with chatter, laughter, and the shuffling of feet. Emma, clutching her sketchpad tightly against her chest, made her way through the chaos, her head low to avoid drawing any attention to herself. She and Megan always ate lunch together at their usual spot under the old oak tree by the field. But today, Emma needed to escape. Her mind was heavy, her thoughts jumbled, and she knew exactly what would calm her down: drawing. As she slipped out of the cafeteria unnoticed, her feet instinctively carried her toward the bleachers. It was her sanctuary, a quiet place where no one bothered her. The rusted beams and shadowed corners provided a cocoon where she could lose herself in her sketches. No one knew about this spot, or so she thought. Emma climbed down to her usual spot under the bleachers and settled in, the cold metal above her providing shade from the midday sun. She pulled out her sketchpad and pencils, her hands moving with muscle memory as she began to draw. The world around her faded as she poured her emotions onto the page, sketching the lines of a willow tree bending under the weight of the wind. Minutes turned into an hour as her art took shape. Lost in her world, she hardly noticed the faint crunch of footsteps on the gravel nearby. It wasn't until a voice, clear and sharp, cut through the air that she jolted back to reality. "Hey nerd. What are you doing in my space?" Emma froze, her pencil hovering mid-stroke. She slowly turned her head, pulling down her headphones. Standing a few feet away was Leon. The star quarterback, the golden boy of their high school, and the last person she ever wanted to deal with. His confident smirk and towering frame seemed out of place in her sacred hideout. Emma scoffed, immediately irritated. "I don't see your name on it," she shot back, her voice sharper than she intended. Leon arched an eyebrow, taken aback by her tone. Most people scrambled to please him, but here was this quiet, unassuming girl dismissing him like he was just another random student. "I always come here," he insisted, crossing his arms and stepping closer. "So, yeah, it's mine." Emma let out an exasperated sigh and snapped her sketchpad shut. "Well, congratulations on owning a patch of dirt under the bleachers," she said sarcastically, stuffing her pencils into her bag. Leon's smirk faltered as he watched her pack up, his irritation bubbling to the surface. No one talked to him like this. Ever. "You're really just going to leave?" he asked, his tone challenging. "Yes, because clearly you need this space more than I do," Emma replied coolly, slinging her bag over her shoulder. She glanced at him one last time, her eyes narrowing. "Enjoy your kingdom, your highness." With that, she marched off, her heart pounding in her chest. She hated confrontation, but something about him, his entitlement, his cocky attitude, set her off. Leon watched her go, his jaw clenched. He was used to being admired, to people bending over backward to get his attention. But this girl, this nobody, had just dismissed him like he was nothing. It irked him more than he cared to admit. He kicked at the gravel under his feet, muttering to himself. Who does she think she is? Little did either of them know, this encounter was only the beginning. Over the weekend, Leon couldn't stop thinking about Emma. How dare she speak to him like that? Yet deep down he was impressed by her boldness. Monday came and Emma woke up early, dressed and prepared herself to face the day. She was anxious, hoping she wouldn't run into the jock again. During calculus class, however, it became apparent that she and Leon shared the same class. When he entered the room with his entourage, Emma couldn't help but glance at him. Their eyes met briefly and she quickly looked away, lowering her gaze. During the break, Emma felt restless. She needed to draw to calm herself, so she made her way to her usual hiding spot under the bleachers. But when she arrived, Leon was already there. She froze, considering retreating to avoid him, but he had already noticed her. Leon looked at her and said, "You know, we can share this place." Emma stood there anxiously, unsure of how to respond. Finally, she decided to approach him and replied, "Okay." They came to an agreement to share the spot, but not at the same time. As the week passed, Leon found himself enjoying their brief interactions. Even though they were just small talks, he felt a connection with Emma that he didn't have with anyone else. She seemed to understand him in a way no one else did. One day, Emma told him, "Even though you're popular, you're working so hard in class. That must be difficult." Leon nodded and replied, Yeah, but I have to push through if I want to get into the best university. Weeks passed and their connection grew stronger. Leon found himself undeniably attracted to Emma. Nobody at school knew they hung out, and Emma had come to realize that not all popular kids were shallow or unintelligent. Especially not Leon. She was impressed by how he admired her artistic talent and how free he seemed when talking to her for hours. Slowly but surely she found herself falling for the popular boy. But the intensity of her feelings scared her. She wanted to hide from him and stopped showing up at their meeting place. Leon was distressed. Not hearing from or talking to Emma felt like torture. When calculus class ended one day and everyone had emptied the room, Leon approached Emma directly and asked why she was avoiding him. Emma was shocked and didn't want to look at him, knowing her little heart couldn't handle it. She tried to walk past him, but he blocked her path. "Please," he pleaded. "Please meet me at our spot in 10 minutes. Both of them had a free period, and Emma, nervous and uncertain, decided to ditch her best friend Megan to go to their secret meeting place. When she arrived, Leon was already there, pacing back and forth, visibly frustrated. The moment he saw her, he rushed toward her and hugged her as if his life depended on it. "I missed you so much, Emma," he whispered into her hair. Emma stiffened in his arms, unsure of what to do. Her heart was racing, but she couldn't deny how much she had missed him too. They sat down together, an awkward silence hanging between them. Leon looked at her, his usual confidence completely gone. "Emma, why have you been avoiding me? Did I do something wrong?" Emma hesitated, unsure if she should speak. She didn't want to look at him, afraid that her emotions would betray her. But Leon wasn't one to back down. He took her hands in his, forcing her to meet his gaze. "Emma, please talk to me," he said, his voice soft but insistent. "I'm going crazy not knowing what's going on." She sighed, finally gathering the courage to ask, "Why do you care so much, Leon? Why do you insist on us meeting and talking? What do you want from me?" Leon looked away for a moment as if he was gathering his thoughts. Then he turned back to her, his expression serious. "Emma, I'm falling for you." Emma's breath hitched. She stared at him, her mind racing. Did he really just say that? "I like you, Emma," he continued. "I like you a lot. And I don't mean as a friend. I mean, I can't stop thinking about you. I feel like myself when I'm with you, and I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose you." Her heart was pounding. She could hardly believe what she was hearing. She hesitated, then smiled shyly. "I like you too. That's why I've been avoiding you." I didn't know how to deal with it. Leon's face lit up, a wide grin spreading across his face. "You like me too?" Emma nodded, and before she knew it, Leon leaned in and kissed her. It was gentle, tentative, but it sent sparks flying through her entire body. When they pulled apart, Leon looked at her with a mixture of awe and joy. "So, will you be my girlfriend?" he asked, his voice filled with hope. Emma laughed softly, her cheeks burning. "Yes." From that moment they began a secret romance. They spent hours talking and laughing in their secret spot under the bleachers. Leon took her on late-night drives and they shared countless stolen kisses. Emma found herself falling deeper for him every day, and Leon felt the same. But in school they pretended not to know each other. Leon was afraid of how people would react, and Emma, though it hurt her, understood. She didn't want to disrupt his life. One day, as Emma walked past the cheerleaders, she noticed how some of them flirted openly with Leon. She clenched her fists, trying to ignore the pang of jealousy in her chest. Later that day, when they were alone, she brought it up. "Leon, why don't you tell them to stop?" she asked, her voice trembling. Leon sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It's not that easy, Emma. It's just part of the whole popular thing. I don't want to make a scene." Emma's heart sank. "So you'd rather let them think you're single than admit we're together?" He reached for her hand, but she pulled away. "Emma, please. I just need more time." She nodded, but deep down the doubt was growing. The breaking point came a few days later. Emma was walking down the hallway when she saw Leon talking to James, his best friend. She hadn't meant to eavesdrop, but their conversation stopped her in her tracks. "You've been spending a lot of time under the bleachers," James said, smirking. "What's going on? You with that nerd, Emma?" Leon laughed, but it sounded forced. "Me? With her? No way. She's not my type. I like pretty girls, like Clara." Emma felt her heart shatter. She couldn't listen anymore. She turned and ran, tears streaming down her face. That night, Leon called her repeatedly, but she ignored him. The next day, when he tried to talk to her at school, she finally confronted him. "Why are you ignoring me?" he asked, his face full of concern. Emma looked up at him, her eyes red from crying. "Let's break up," she said firmly. Leon froze. What did I do?" "You don't want me," she said, her voice trembling. "You're ashamed of me. You don't even think I'm pretty. I heard what you said to James." Leon's eyes widened in shock and guilt. "Emma, no. That's not true. I didn't mean it. But you said it," she whispered. "And I can't do this anymore. I won't be your secret." With that, she walked away, leaving Leon standing there, tears welling up in his eyes. Over the weekend, Leon showed up at her house, desperate to explain. Her mom, sensing the tension between them, urged Emma to hear him out. Reluctantly, she agreed to meet him at a pizza place nearby. When she arrived, Leon immediately apologized. "Emma, I'm so sorry for what I said. I was stupid and scared, and I thought I was protecting us. But I see now that I hurt you, and I hate myself for it. I love you, Emma. I've loved you since the day we met." Emma's tears flowed freely as she listened to him pour his heart out. "I love you too, Leon," she admitted. "But I can't be with someone who doesn't see my worth." "I do see your worth," he said earnestly. "I see it more than anyone else. I was planning to ask you to the school dance in front of everyone, to show the whole world how much I love you." He showed her the reservations he'd made weeks ago. Emma was stunned. "I made a mistake," Leon said, taking her hands in his. "But I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you if you'll let me." Emma hesitated, then smiled through her tears. "Hey, let's try again." Leon pulled her into a kiss, and this time it felt like a promise of a future together. On Monday, they walked into school hand in hand, ignoring the stares and whispers. For the first time, they didn't care what anyone else thought. As the months passed, their love only grew stronger. At their graduation, Leon gave a heartfelt speech, thanking Emma for teaching him what it meant to truly love someone. They walked across the stage together, hand in hand, ready to face whatever the future held. Because no matter what, they knew they had each other.